I have been influenced to make the 6-Day Star Blanket by Betty McKnit. You already know. When I'm on TikTok and I see people have the blanket in a roll and then they go and slap it down, it's over for me. I'm sitting there, what's the next day look like? Show me, roll down the next day. I need to see day 6. How long did it take you? I'm gonna make the Betty McKnit 6-Day Star Blanket, hopefully using only yarn that I already have. You don't have to go buy new yarn for this. I have so much yarn. Betty McKnit has a free pattern for this on a website. There are ads on it. She has a paid written pattern without ads. And there's a supplemental YouTube video that goes along with the written pattern. I'm gonna update you as I do day by day and let you know how the process is going. I am imagining that this is not like, sit down and crochet for 2 hours and make a blanket in 6 days. There's no way. I'm on a holiday break right now, so I have all the time that I need to sit down and focus in on this blanket. Probably get it done in 6 days. Maybe I'll get it done in less than 6 days. Maybe it'll take me 5 weeks. I literally don't know. But I'll show you what yarn I'm working with here.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. I can't. I am disgusted.
And that's not even the half of it. Let me show you what else. I have this cloth over it so it doesn't get any dust on it, but we have a whole basket here. I have just this random bag sitting around. Some of these I do need for projects, but a lot of these are just extra. Oh, you may have thought I was done. I am not. This whole thing is full of yarn. Oh, and then we have over here as well. But it's all a tax write-off, I tell myself. But I need this to make something, I tell myself. Yeah, but you can write off on your taxes, so you need to buy more yarn. I have some different yarns here with different textures, and they're and different weights too. I'm not gonna not use a yarn because it's a different weight. I'm just gonna use what I have. So this is kind of what I'm starting with. I made my first 7 rounds. I'm just kind of winging it to pick what colors go next. I definitely had to use the YouTube video. I was getting very confused on the written pattern. I believe that's because she has like terms for certain stitches that she calls certain things that I know them to be different, but I found that if I went over on the YouTube video that it makes total sense. Very important development. I've added some pink fuzzy yarn. I really feel like this is it's given something that this needed. Here we are so far. We're curling a little bit on the ends, but I'm at the last setup round, so I don't think it matters. I've been working on this for a couple hours. If I did a time count, it'd probably be around an hour and a half. I watched her first video on how to do the setup rounds, which was a little over an hour. Then I've worked on it probably like 20 to 30 minutes. So I think that this is really cute. And the pattern is really fun to do because it doesn't get boring. So each row is something different, which is fun. I am getting now to the repeat rows where I believe it's 6 repeating rows, or 6 or 7 repeating rows that you do. So the colors I'm doing so far is like red, pink, chartreuse. There's a teal in here, blues, and then neutrals. I'm gonna try to stick with this. I don't know if I'm gonna add any more colors in. That's not like variations of these shades, but I really don't know. Most of what has been challenging about this so far is just picking what color comes next. After sitting here and staring at this and staring at the wall for like 20 minutes, I've decided on a color palette. So what I'm gonna do is the colors that I'm gonna choose are gonna be either neutrals like brown, tan, white, cream, not grays. So warm neutrals, and then anything in the like red, green, or blue category, right? So like dark blue, light blue, we could do navy, we could do like a powder blue, a muted blue, but like any blues will be fine. Anything in the green family. So I have this like chartreuse. There's a bit of like a sea foam there, so I could do any greens, and then the red family. So we already have pink and red. I think that will make for a cohesive blanket and not look like I closed my eyes and picked random yarns out of my stash. So I spent some time organizing my yarn by neutrals, greens, pinks and reds, and blues, because that's kind of my main categories. I'm like coming up with some like rules for the blanket so that way it looks kind of cohesive. Obviously I'm doing the neutrals, blue, greens, and reds and pinks family, but I've decided that every time I do a certain color, it's going to be next to a color of the same color family, which is why it's helpful for me to have them all laid out so I can sort of plan what to look best together beside which ones, so it gives a cohesive vibe. Oh. Day 2 update. Can you tell that I'm excited and that I am obsessed? I love this so much. This pattern is so much fun. Betty, this pattern is fun. So this is not my final vision. Trust the process with me, okay? But I'm really liking the way that it's turning out so far. The vision is visioning. I have different textures of yarn all throughout, which I think is adding some fun like visual interest that I'm really pumped about. I have some other different kinds of yarns. I'm mixing together acrylic yarn, wool blend, Etsy order. I'm mixing together acrylic yarn, wool blend, cotton yarn. We're just pulling out all the stops. We're also not buying any new yarn. I definitely am not going to need to buy any more yarn. I also thought that this was going to take up a lot more of my yarn stash than it did. I was like, I'm going to work through a lot of my yarn stash. By the end of this, I'll have maybe like a good 25% of it gone. No, because I'm using a different color every row. I don't think that I'm going to use up like a lot of my yarn. I will use up some, but I'm not going to use up as much as I thought. So this is day 2 update. I'm going to keep working on this, and I'll update you on at the end of day 3. This is the end of day 2. I'm filming these like in the morning of the next day. So when I finish in the evening, I don't have good lighting in my place. So I'm not gonna like stand here in the dark and be like, this is what I did on this day. So this is technically my 3rd day, but it's the morning. So now for the rest of day 3, I'm gonna work on it and then I'll show you tomorrow. That might be irrelevant, but I just thought I would explain. If you're like, why is it daylight and you're telling me that it's the end of the day? That's why. As far as timing goes. Okay, so day 1, I did to here, to the red, and I give you the timestamp then. This took me probably about 3.5 hours. So if you count the time from day 1 plus day 2, it would be this many hours. I know it's nighttime, but I wanted to sort of show you my process. So a lot of this process is just figuring out which yarns to use next, because I'm not repeating any colors. So as you can see, I have a mix of like different fuzzy yarns, more like shiny, acrylic. I have some cotton in here because I'm trying to have like a lot of variated texture. Right now, my plan, I'm doing this like burnt umber, mustardy brown kind of color. And then next I'm gonna do this mohair white. And then I'm gonna do this color. With the flash on, it kind of looks like gray, but this is a teal. After that, I'm gonna do this sage. This is day 4. I didn't film day 3, and that's my bad. I didn't feel good and I didn't want to film anything. But this is the end of day 4. I have it rolled up. It's getting heavy. Okay, you ready? Okay, so fine, I'll admit it, I love this. I think that this color palette is working out so beautifully. I just love how this is turning out. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I want to update you on like how it's going, how long it's taken me, etc, etc, etc. This is the only way I can figure out how to hold it. So from the middle to the red was day 1, okay? And then from the white to this green was day 2. From the green to this brown was day 3. And then from the brown up to this teal color was day 4. This is the hours that it has taken me. As you can see, day 4 is obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. It took me about 5 hours. So it's getting to where it's taking me like around 40 minutes per row. It took me 5 hours because it takes me forever to pick out what yarn I want to do next, which is a struggle of my own doing. I just like really want this to look like cohesive, which I think that it does. I really need to pull this chartreuse up here. This is the only thing that's like throwing it off a little bit. And I have some, but I don't know if this is going to be enough to really like do the full row. As I'm sure you can imagine, these outer rows are taking much more yarn now. Moral of the story is that this is technically like a weight 2, but I've been, every time I use a weight 2 yarn, I've been doubling it up. So it's like around a weight 4 or 5, right? I don't think that I have enough of this to double it up. Do you see, this is what is taking me so long. It's like, this is the contemplation that I have before every row. This is the end of day 4. So I will come back and show you tomorrow morning what the end of day 5 looks like. Now, speaking to the 6-day timeline, if you have a lot of time to dedicate to making this blanket, then sure, you can get it done in 6 days. You can do a lot of things in 6 days. You can like build a house, I don't know, maybe not that. If you have like 5 to 8 hours a day, then sure, you can get this done in 6 days. I could walk a couple states over if I didn't stop and if I didn't sleep and if I only had a backpack full of water on and if I ate only food in my pocket, then like, yeah, I can do a lot of things in 6 days. But like realistically, this is not a 6-day blanket unless you're making a small size. I do think that I'll get it done in 6 days because I'm on like a holiday break and I'm just doing this all the time. Like if I'm going somewhere in the car, I'll be crocheting this while I'm driving, of course. No, I'm kidding. Do not do that. This would not be realistic with any other version of my schedule that's not like a holiday break. But if you're gonna be working on this an hour or 2 or maybe 3 a day, this will not take you 6 days. It will not take you 6 days. Another thing I wanted to mention about the speed of this blanket is that my hours obviously include picking out the colors, the color changes, weaving in all the ends for this, and like planning the colors, which has taken a good amount of time. I have one of those like multicolored yarns like the Karen cakes or something, then this would take less time because there would be no thought or effort behind changing colors. There is no color changes. There's no ends to weave in and you just like keep going and going and going. So if you're trying to be quicker and you really want to get this done in 6 days, and you don't have 8 hours a day to do this, I would definitely say that using a big hook and getting a thicker yarn and getting all one color yarn. For example, this would be the perfect kind of yarn to use for something like this if you're wanting it to work up quickly and you don't want to have to think about the color changes. Like clearly I'm spending so much time thinking about the color changes. Don't get caught up in like 6 days. Like you're making a blanket. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And if you don't have 8 hours a day to crochet, well, that's completely normal. Okay, so a little blanket update. I keep running out of yarn. I keep trying to use some of my scrap yarn or yarn that I have left over, thinking that it's gonna be enough, but the blanket is getting so big now that I keep running out. So I was using this fuzzy peach yarn, and I had enough for 5 of the points, but then from here to there, this is not actually a point. It's like from here to here, I don't have enough. So just beware that as the blanket gets bigger, I mean, of course this goes without saying, really keep in mind that if you're using random yarns that as you go out, you're definitely gonna need more than you think. Okay, it is day 5 and I'm getting ready to do I will put a total hours count here. So here we are, day 5. Yay! Okay, so here's how we're looking at day 5. I've continued with my color palette of blue, green, red, and pink family and warm neutrals, as you can see, which I think is really turning out cute. I'm really liking how it's looking so far. I did make my first like big mistake in the blanket. So as you see, the pattern calls for 2 rows of double crochets at a time. That's the last 2 rows that I've done. And this green row that I did, as you can see, I only did 1 row of double crochet. I just completely missed it. I didn't realize until I was on this row right here And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going back. That was probably like 30 to 40 minutes per row, and I did several rows, so no, we're not going back. So that's my little mistake. I do not care, and I'm not going back. That's the fun thing about this pattern that I find is like, if you make a mistake, it's not going to mess you up for the entire thing. For example, this is something to keep in mind if you're doing this pattern. There's a way that you like count the pattern as you go to line up with the top points and then like the bottom points of the star. It's probably something that I'm doing and I don't know what it is, but it's like almost never lining up perfectly here at the bottom. On like these rows of like the granny cluster rows, it is like never lining up here, and so I just have to adjust a little bit to make sure like the point is where it's supposed to be, and then these few are off by a little. But again, it like does not matter, like you cannot tell. If you're off by like 1 or 2, it's really fine. It's just make sure that like the bottom points and the top points are in the right spot. If you're a beginner crocheter, I would just encourage you to like really follow the video tutorial exactly. And if you're a more advanced crocheter and you know how to kind of self-correct, there's a lot of room for self-correction in this pattern. Like I have said before, these like outer rows are taking me a very long time now and a lot of yarn. I have like ran out of yarn on almost all of these. I'm like doubling up a lot of my sport weight 2 yarns to make like around the size of a worsted or a bulky weight yarn. And I've run out on like so many of them, and so a lot of these rows, like I'll have like this much of it that I have to undouble. You can really tell on camera, but I was doubling up this fuzzy peach yarn and then I ran out about here. And so then I had to go back, unravel, and then do a single strand of it, which is this, which is now just 1 strand. And again, you really can't tell when you hold it back, can you? And so I'm just not being a perfectionist with this pattern. My plan is to do just 1 more set of each color. So I want to end on like a pink red row, so I have like this much to go. I'm hoping that I can get this done on like day 6. That might be a lofty goal because day 5 I only got from here to here and I spent quite a bit of time working on it, so I don't know. I might either have to do 7 days or have a like 10-hour day 6. Okay, I'm gonna take you along on my process of plating out the rest of the colors that I'm gonna use for the blanket. Here's my thoughts. I feel like I need to pull in this red color again because I feel like it's a little stark. I felt that way about this green color, and then I pulled it in here and I feel like it makes it look more cohesive, but I'm just really feeling like I need to pull in that red again. So that will definitely be one of my colors. And as you can see, the way that I've been doing it is I've been doing blues and then some kind of warm neutral, greens, warm neutrals, pinks and reds, and then warm neutrals. So I just finished my pink section. So now I'm gonna find some neutrals and warm neutrals to go for my next few rows. The colors that I have planned, so next I'm gonna do this cream and then this like warm taupe color. I'm gonna bring back in this blue in the end. I'm gonna do this more shiny turquoise color. Next is gonna be this fuzzy blue and then this like blue jean color. Next after that is going to be, this is a like a brighter white than that one. Still not like stark white, but more of a brighter white. And then this brown color, tan. This is like a tan color. Then I'm moving into the greens. So I'm gonna do this teal first, the grass green, this olive, and then this fun green color. Then I'm gonna do this like sienna color back with the cream, and then here's my last 4 pink colors. I don't know what my last color is going to be. I'll see how this pink looks, but I also might make it like a white at the end. I'm not sure yet, but here is the lineup, tying in this blue and this red, which I'm doing with that one, and that one is going to really bring it all together, combined with these other fun colors to continue my process. So this, now that I'm looking at it, feels completely unrealistic for like a 6th day, but of course I'll let you know how it goes and if I need to do a 7th day. Hi, so this is the end of day 6. I don't think I'm quite done yet because I still want to do a few more colors, but it's a really big blanket and I think that this would be like a finished throw blanket. So technically the end of day 6.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
I'm so happy with how this is turning out. I think my color palette is working really well. So super pumped. This is the end of day 6. So for the 6-day star blanket, this is how much I was able to get done. This is totally like good enough to be like a throw blanket. It's also big enough to like wrap around. However, on day 6, I did spend 7 hours doing this. Wrong side. It took me 7 hours from here, this like taupe color, up to this brown. So that was 7 hours. Obviously, as this blanket gets bigger, the rounds take significantly longer. And I was like crocheting fast too. I do want to keep going because I just feel like the colors aren't done yet. Mine's gonna end up being bigger than a throw. I don't know if it's quite gonna be queen sized, but I will of course let you know. I will not accept the reality that I'm not done with this today. I'm a little over it, I'm gonna say. It was really fun until about like here-ish, because the repeats were happening quicker. I could like pick out a new color sooner, do a new stitch. But then this has been quite, yes. And I find myself getting halfway through the round and being like, all right, can we speed it up, please? Favorite and least favorite rounds to do. I like doing the double crochet rounds here. I do not like doing these rounds. So this is like a round of single crochet, and this is like granny clusters where you have to like count to make sure you're putting it in the right space. Hate that row. Really love the next row, which would be like this blue one where you're doing like a granny cluster within a granny cluster, so there's no counting. I've done this so long that I have favorite and least favorite rows, and rows that I look forward to and rows that I don't like doing. I would say the single crochet rounds to me are like true neutral. The rounds where you have to count, chaotic evil, and then these rounds where you get to do granny clusters in the granny cluster space, those ones are lawful good. And I would say the double crochet rounds, neutral good. I will not accept that I will not be done with this today, so I'm probably gonna spend another like 7 or 8 hours on this today. It's a weekend day, I have nothing to do today. I have things I could be doing, but this is gonna take priority because I wanna be done finishing this. Damn it, I'm finishing it. If I update you tomorrow and I'm not done, ask me how I'm doing, because I'm not gonna be okay. And if I come on here tomorrow and I haven't finished it, I think the vibes are gonna be a bit different. I'm about to get started on day 7, and this is the lineup that we're working with. Looks like it wouldn't take that long, but looks can be deceiving. Okay, I just need to show that I won yarn chicken just now by this much. Yeah, but I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna run out. And this is how much that I had. This feels like a good sign. It's done! I've already tried to film this one time, and literally the blanket was too big. It would not fit in the frame. So I had to put it on the wide lens. I am obsessed with this blanket. No further questions at this time. Nobody talk to me in my blanket ever again. She's beauty, she's grace, she's my blanket. Hello? Yeah, don't call here again. Why? Because I'm sitting here with my blanket. You hear that? I have it in 0.5 so you can see the blanket in its entirety. You good girl? You me Piba? You beautiful girl? Oh my goodness, Piba. I mean, come on! So final thoughts. Okay, I'm obsessed.
I mean, come on. This is beautiful. I love it. And this is going to be a family heirloom, whether my kids and grandkids like it or not. Y'all are passing this down. This took forever. I'm gonna show you the hours here of each day. Notably, day 7. Y'all, I spent the entirety of the time that I was awake finishing this. And then I'm even gonna cue you in on a secret. I had to wake up this morning and finish a little bit more of this red and the white here, which took me like 30 minutes. So yeah, if you're gonna make it this big, which I got to a point where I was like, I could stop, but I've put this much work into it now. Why would I stop when I can make it like what I really want, which is this like nice big blanket. I put it on my king size bed, I was gonna tell you all, and it's definitely like not a king size. This would be the right size for a comforter for a full bed. And it would fit and look cute on a queen bed, but it wouldn't like drape over the edges. Like I showed you all on day 6, that was a full blanket, but I wanted to make it bigger. And so yes, you could do this in 6 days. I will say that you need to spend a lot of time, especially on days like 4, 5, and 6, but like to be expected, right? Like I don't feel like anyone's going into this thinking, oh, I'll spend 2 hours a day on this and get it done in 6 days. I feel like 6 days is not reasonable, and I was able to get mine done in 7, but again, I feel like even 7 is not reasonable for this size, because on day 7 I spent like the whole day working on it. I didn't have anything else to do, so I was just like, I'm finishing this today. I'm done with this. I'm doing it today. I also have this ability to like black out and crochet for 10 hours at a time. I have good hooks, and the way that I crochet like doesn't hurt my hand at all. And so I'm able to let go for a very long time, as opposed to if you are a beginner crocheter and your hand starts to hurt, please don't like push yourself to crochet for 10 hours to finish a blanket in a certain number of days and then like hurt yourself. Carpal tunnel is no joke. Don't sit on your couch and hurt your hand and crochet this for 12 hours at a time if it's gonna hurt. I'm not at all encouraging that behavior. If you're like me and you found a way to crochet in hooks that your hand and wrists like don't hurt, then sure. I mean, I did it. So as far as the days go, so day 1 took me this long. That day was fun. I was following the YouTube videos. We were having a ball. It was a great time. I was like, this is gonna work up so fast. I might get done in less than 6 days. It was just like so much fun. This pattern is very fun to work up. So I was having a ball on day 1. Days 2 and 3, which took me this long, was also having so much fun. I was getting all my yarn, being like, ooh, what's the colors gonna be? So we were having a lot of fun on days 2 and 3. Day 4, we're still trucking along. Took me this long. I was realizing at this point, like, oh, okay. Like, yup, this is taking a little bit longer, but it's fine. I was still having a good time. And then same with day 5, which took me this long. I was just kind of trucking along. Day 6 and 7, that's where I was starting to get a little delirious with this blanket. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, I just want this to be done, okay? But it literally got to the point where like each row was taking me like an hour, and I was like, oh my God. And I kept running out of yarn. Which I told you that I'm not buying any more yarn. I did not buy any more yarn, by the way. So here's where I say I didn't buy any more yarn. Yay. I would totally recommend that you do this pattern. It's so fun. Be aware that if you want it to be big, it's gonna take you a while, but not that long. I mean, a week to make a blanket really is not that long in the grand scheme of things. I'm obsessed with it. It was a labor of love, and I'm gonna be using this every day. Unless somebody wants to buy it for $3,000, which would be how much I'd have to sell this thing for, considering that I poured all my time and all my yarn into it. Just kidding, I'm not selling it. This is a family heirloom. Well, here's my star blanket. I'm gonna be sitting with this and enjoying this view of this blanket for the rest of my days, because I'm never getting rid of it. And if you all wanna see me try any other crochet patterns, or if you wanna see anything else at all in general, you just let me know. But thank you all so much for watching. If you make this blanket, happy crocheting. Subscribe if you wanna see more videos like this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. I love her. Go talk to me in my blanket. Yeah, I made this. Yes, I did. And how long? 7. Oh no, not 7 years, 7 days. Why? Oh, because I'm crazy. Oh yeah, I blacked out and crocheted for 12 hours in one day to finish this blanket in 7 days. Yeah. Do my arms hurt? No, don't ask me that again. Would you like for me to say more or less about how I'm going to force my children and grandchildren for this blanket to be an heirloom?